3, 2, 1.
Political organization of the people of the Precolonial Uganda. Political organization in this circumstance refers to the way people governed themselves. Political units during the Precolonial Uganda included empires, kingdoms, chiefdoms. If we talk about Precolonial Uganda, we are referring to the time before the colonialists came to Uganda. Bunyoro Kitara Empire. This was the earliest kingdom to be formed in Uganda. It was called an empire for a reason. It was too large, covering a large area. The founders of Bunyoro Kitara Empire were the Batembuzi. The founders of the Bunyoro Kitara Empire can also be referred to as the first occupants because they were the first people to live in the Bunyoro Kitara region, and therefore Batembuzi are credited for founding the Bunyoro Kitara Empire, and the Batembuzi who founded the Bunyoro Kitara Empire were led by Ruhanga and his brother Encha. So therefore the founder of Bunyoro Kitara Empire was Ruhanga and his brother Encha. But if they ask for the founders of Bunyoro Kitara, I think this is a different case. It is the Batembuzi. And who led the Batembuzi? Ruhanga. So the founders, Batembuzi, founder Ruhanga. The Batembuzi from the ruling dynasty called the Tembuzi dynasty. The Batembuzi were believed to be demigods for some reasons, and one of the reasons why these people were not believed to be so human but referred to as demigods was that they could perform miracles, and in certain situations they were referred to as people who could just disappear at a certain moment and even appear somewhere else. These things made them to be referred to as demigods. They were not expected to be really human because of such miracles they could perform. Isaza was the last ruler of the Batembuzi, and the Tembuzi dynasty came to an end when Isaza, who was the king by then, went to Nyamiyonga, the underground king, and he got locked underground. So King Nyamiyonga of the underground locked King Isaza underground, and King Isaza was unable to come back to the earth, and therefore an end to that Tembuzi dynasty according to scholars. These are some of the stories talked about the Tembuzi dynasty. It might be either true or false because there is no verification for all these stories that are talked about the Tembuzi dynasty, but that is what history brings to us. The Chwezi dynasty. It was formed by the Bachwezi. The Bachwezi are believed to have originated from the Horn of Africa in Ethiopia and therefore came to Uganda from the Horn of Africa, most especially originating from the country Ethiopia. Ndahura was the first king of the Bachwezi. Ndahura founded the Chwezi dynasty, and then Wamala was the last king of the Bachwezi. Someone might be wanting to know what a dynasty is because we are talking about dynasty, but what does a dynasty mean? A dynasty basically is a series of leaders who belong to the same family. What were some of the contributions of the Bachwezi in Uganda? The Bachwezi, who happened to have founded the Chwezi dynasty, contributed too much politically, economically, and socially in Uganda's development. Political contributions included the Bachwezi introduced the centralized monarchy. The Bachwezi introduced the idea of building reed palace, and then the Bachwezi introduced the royal regalia. So I'll find that out of this, it dealt with administration, and these are what we are referring to as their political contributions to Uganda. What about their social contributions to this country, Uganda? Number one, they introduced local chess. This local chess was given a local name, that Mweso. So they called it the Mweso game. The Bachwezi also introduced the building of grass-thatched houses. They introduced the digging of ditches for protection against enemies. These were some of the contributions that they made socially to Uganda's development. What about the economic contributions? How were people able to earn a living due to the contributions brought forth by the Bachwezi? Economically, the Bachwezi started salt mining at Lake Katwe. They introduced the knowledge of iron smelting, and they also introduced long-horned cattle in Uganda. They introduced coffee growing, so therefore they made sure they started coffee cultivation in Uganda. The Bachwezi also introduced bark cloth making, and this bark cloth was made from the bark of a tree. That's why it's referred to as the bark cloth. And then these iron that were brought by the Bachwezi, how were they able to improve the lives of Ugandans? The iron that they introduced helped to strengthen the Chwezi Empire in different ways. Number one, the Bachwezi started making strong tools for cultivation. The Bachwezi made strong weapons for defense and expansion. Gone were the days that they were having weak weapons to defend themselves, and gone were the days that they were having weak farming tools, leading to low agricultural production. But this time, iron is at hand to be used, and everything has been changed. What were the reasons for the collapse of the Chwezi dynasty? The Chwezi dynasty collapsed due to several reasons, and among these reasons as to why the Chwezi dynasty collapsed includes 1. The empire was too large to be controlled by one ruler. Death of their beloved cow, Bihogo, whom they are believed to have been worshipping as their god. So when Bihogo died, they just took it as a sign of misfortune, and they never believed in anything positive again for the kingdom. There was outbreak of drought and famine in the empire. There was disunity among the people, and there was outbreak of epidemic diseases in the empire. There was also the Luo invasion, and when we talk about the Luo invasion, this was massive. In fact, the Luo invasion led to the final collapse of the Chwezi dynasty, and therefore giving birth to the Luo Babito dynasty. Luo Babito dynasty replaced the Chwezi dynasty. This was founded by Isingoma Rukidi Umpuga. Bunyoro Kingdom replaced Bunyoro Kitara Empire, and Isingoma Rukidi Umpuga was the first Omukama of Bunyoro. In this one, we get to understand that Bunyoro Kingdom came to live after the Luo Babito dynasty had already existed, and the very founder of the Luo Babito dynasty happened to have been the real founder of Bunyoro Kingdom, and being the first Omukama. Omukama is the title given to the kings of Bunyoro. What are some of the kingdoms that were formed after the collapse of Bunyoro Kitara Empire? Bunyoro Kitara Empire was covering a very large area in East Africa, and when Bunyoro Kitara Empire collapsed, very many kingdoms were brought forth. Number 1, there was Buganda Kingdom. Number 2, there was Bunyoro Kingdom, and then Ankole Kingdom. And when we stretch to other neighboring countries, you'll find in Kenya there was Wanga Kingdom, and in Tanzania there was Karagwe Kingdom. Let's focus on our Uganda. What were the early kingdoms in Uganda? Let's begin by looking at Toro Kingdom, but before that, you must know what a kingdom is. A kingdom is an area ruled by a king or a queen. Kingdoms in Uganda formed in the Interlacustrine region were very many, and the Interlacustrine region was the Great Lakes regions of East Africa. The Great Lakes regions of East Africa, or we can say the regions that are located along the Great Lakes of East Africa. The Great Lakes of East Africa, here we're talking about the Lake Albert, the Lake Victoria, we're talking about the Lake Edward, we're talking about the Lake Tanganyika, and so on. The Great Lakes of East Africa, they were found in the Interlacustrine region. Kingdoms in Uganda were formed in the Interlacustrine region, and the tribes that formed these kingdoms in Uganda included 1. Banyankole, who formed the Ankole Kingdom, and they gave the title to their king as Omugabe. Baganda formed the Buganda Kingdom, and they gave the title to their king as Kabaka. Batoro formed Toro Kingdom, and they gave the title to their king as Omukama. Bunyoro formed the Bunyoro Kingdom, and they gave the title to their king as Omukama too. So Bunyoro and Toro kingdoms share the title Omukama, simply because Toro was a breakaway kingdom from Bunyoro. Bakonzo also formed the Rwenzururu, and the title of their king is Omusinga. What were some of the reasons why these Bantu tribes were able to form kingdoms? Forming kingdoms was not something easy, and forming a kingdom depended on several factors. Number 1, the Bantu were able to form kingdoms because they lived a settled life. In this case, they lived in one place, they didn't move up and down. And then too, they were united. Unity played a great role in the formation of kingdoms, for some Bantu tribes were able to do so. And lastly, they were also very organized in different groups. What are the reasons why some tribes were unable to form kingdoms, most especially the Nilotics? They were not living a settled life, meaning they either moved from one place to another. A good example are the nomadic pastoralists. So because of that, they didn't live a settled life. Therefore, there was no need to form a kingdom for them, and they indeed didn't bother to form kingdoms. And two, they were also disunited. Since unity plays a big role in the formation of an empire or kingdom, disunity always disrupts the most of the process that makes it not to be successful. There are characteristics of kingdoms that were formed in Uganda. Number one, they have hereditary rulers. 2. They have established social and cultural institutions. 3. They have a single supreme king at a time. 4. The kings have absolute powers over their subjects. Next, they have royal regalias as instruments of authority. And what are some of the examples of the royal regalia that are owned by these kings? The royal crown, the royal stool, the royal spear, the royal drum. The royal regalia basically refers to symbols and emblems of a kingdom. What are the advantages of kingdoms? Kingdoms promote unity among people. Kingdoms promote culture of the society. Kingdoms easily mobilize people for national duties like elections. And kingdoms promote morals among the people. And then lastly, kingdoms can sometimes offer scholarships to students. What are the disadvantages of kingdoms? Kingdoms promote dictatorship. Kingdoms promote the interests of the minority over the majority. They promote regional rather than national development. There is an equal distribution of wealth among the people, and kingdoms also promote tribalism. Let's look at Buganda Kingdom. There are two traditions that explain the founder of Buganda Kingdom. According to the Banyoro or the Nyoro tradition, Kato Chimera is believed to be the founder of Buganda Kingdom. Kato Chimera was the twin brother of Isingoma Rukidi Mpuga, who was the founder of Bunyoro Kingdom. According to the Ganda tradition, Chintu is believed to be the founder of Buganda Kingdom, and this is explained by the legend of the first Muganda. Buganda Kingdom is located in the northwest of Lake Victoria and currently occupies districts like Kampala, Mukono, Mpigi, Luwero, Mityana, Masaka, Bukomansimbi, Kalungu, Mubende, Nakaseke, Wakiso. The title given to the king of Buganda is Kabaka, and the king in Buganda had absolute powers over his subjects. Buganda Kingdom grew stronger and expanded in the 18th century basically because of the following factors. The factors that led to the growth and expansion of Buganda Kingdom were: 1. Buganda had strong and able leaders. 2. Buganda had a strong standing army called the Abamboa. 3. Unity among the people of Buganda. Buganda was strategically located near Lake Victoria, and this helped to safeguard Buganda against her enemies. Buganda had plenty of food for growing population. Buganda acquired guns from the Arabs. These were used in the expansion of the kingdom, and Buganda Kingdom had fertile soils which increased food production. Who are some of the famous kings of Buganda, and what are they remembered for? Number 1, Sir Edward Mutesa. 2. Sir Edward Mutesa II invited Christian missionaries to come to Uganda through Henry Morton Stanley. He welcomed the first Christian missionaries to Uganda. The next famous Kabaka of Buganda is Kabaka Suna. Kabaka Suna II welcomed the first Arab traders to Buganda Kingdom. The next famous king of Buganda Kingdom is Kabaka Mwanga. He ordered for the killing of the Christian converts in Buganda. He was exiled to Seychelles Islands, where he died. Daudi Chwa was an infant king of Buganda during the signing of the 1900 Buganda Agreement. He ruled Buganda Kingdom with the help of the regents. Kabaka Ronald Muwanda Mutebi II. He is the current king of Buganda as of 2025, subject to change in years to come. How did the Kabaka act as a very important person in Buganda Kingdom? He was the commander-in-chief of the army. He was the chief decision maker. He was the chief judge. Bunyoro Kingdom started after the collapse of the Chwezi Empire. The kingdom was founded by the Luo migrants from northern Uganda. Bunyoro Kingdom was founded by Isingoma Rukidi Mpuga and the Luo Babita dynasty. The title given to the king of Bunyoro is Omukama. Bunyoro grew and expanded during the reign of Omukama Kamurasi. After his death, his son called Kabalega succeeded him as a new king. Currently, Bunyoro Kingdom covers districts like Chibale, Masindi, Bulisa, Chiriandongo, Hoima, among others. The current king of Bunyoro Kingdom is Solomon Gafabusa Iguru as of 2025, subject to change in years to come. Kabalega organized Bunyoro Kingdom by building a strong army called the Abarusura, and the Abarusura had the following duties: 1. To promote peace and security in Bunyoro Kingdom, 2. To raid the neighboring communities for expansion, and then 3. To enforce law and order. What were the factors for the expansion and growth of Bunyoro Kingdom? Bunyoro had able and strong leaders. Bunyoro had a strong standing army. There was unity among the Bunyoro. Bunyoro were strategically located. Bunyoro Kingdom was found around Lake Albert. Bunyoro had plenty of food for the growing population, and yet they also faced many challenges. 1. When their king Kabalega was invaded and exiled by the British, he was arrested by the British and sent to Seychelles Islands in exile, of which he died on the way through Jinja when he was coming back at the time he was permitted to return to his kingdom. Seychelles Islands in the Indian Ocean is the smallest country in Africa by now. After the death of Kabalega at Jinja, his son Yosia Chitahimbwa succeeded him. Omukama Kamurasi welcomed Sasamulbeka in Bunyoro Kingdom. During the reign of Omukama Chabambe Nyamutukura, his son called Prince Kaboyo left the palace and started Toro Kingdom. And the factors that led to the decline of Bunyoro Kingdom included, among others, the kingdom was too big to be ruled by one king, the rise of Bunyoro's neighbors like the Toro Kingdom and Uganda. The kingdom had internal conflicts, and then the coming of the colonialists. Toro Kingdom. The title given to the king of Toro is Omukama. The current king of Toro is Oyonyimba Kabamba Iguru IV, subject to change in years to come. When Omukama Kabalega overthrew and exiled Omukama Kasagama, Captain Frederick Lugud restored Omukama Kasagama of Toro back to his throne. And the reasons why Toro broke away from Bunyoro Kingdom were as follows. The Batoro felt that they were not adequately protected by the king of Bunyoro from their enemies. The Batoro felt that they were very far from the capital of Bunyoro, since they would take too long to see the king. Prince Kaboyo was very greedy and impatient for power, since he had been appointed as a clan leader, which had reduced his chances of becoming a king. Angola Kingdom. Angola Kingdom is believed to have been founded by Rohinda, the son of Omala, the last king of the Bachwezi. Angola Kingdom is located in the south of western part of Uganda, and the title given to the king of Akole is Omugabe. Who are the famous kings of Angola? Omugabe Ntare, Omugabe Kahaya. Then later on we had decentralized societies of Uganda, and decentralized societies are societies that had no central rulers. These societies did not form kingdoms in Uganda, but examples of tribes that did not form kingdoms in Uganda include Bachiga, Bagwere, Bagisu, Basamia, Bamba, Acholi, Alur, Iteso, Karimojong. What were the reasons why these tribes in Uganda did not form kingdoms? As earlier on said, they didn't live a settled life, they were disunited, and they were not organized at all. So this is a brief history about the people of the pre-colonial Uganda and how they were organized politically, dealing with administration, how were they faring, and all this brings us to the end. And thank you for tuning in to the Pearl of Africa podcast. Until we catch up again, I still remain yours truly, the life of Daniel.